looking at this accident, this person should be dead. There's no way this person should be able to survive. Rather yet here talking to me right now.
Look, you have dark, good and have evil.
Because there's a different generation, there's a different kind of skill teach generation.
I saw a lot of things. I would say trauma.
In the heat of the moment, the adrenaline, I had so much things, I had so much to lose at that time.
Time to change, man. Time to turn around. Time to turn around.
The funny thing about it, nothing ended up happening that particular day, and I was vexed. I was vexed. I remember saying, I done with this whole gang thing with these men really willing to ride for me, didn't care sample. Because as I said, I was just so tunnel vision with vengeance that I didn't really care about the consequences at the time. And I just wanted my revenge. And I remember going in the state and I yo, this gang thing, yo, this whole crip thing and blah blah blah. These men are ready for this and that. And I had put up something that time with MSN at the time and I had stated that I'm no longer a crip, that I is a street soldier. And the funny thing about being a street soldier was that it wasn't even a gang. It was just me saying I just a street soldier. I just gonna ride for the streets. I just by myself solo. And then people asked me, what's the street soldier thing? I was like, huh? Yeah, what's the street soldier? I want you on this thing, what's the street soldier thing? And then eventually, I said, you know what? This way it is. And I created my own code. And before you know it, street soldiers become a gang, which is run by me. And I was recruiting both Bloods and Crips. And people didn't like that. The news I got back and it was a hit from my head. I was moving kind of a little too reckless for the streets at the time. So there was a hit from my head. And I remember going to some places and people saying, boy, they're coming for you and what's not. And I saw the person that one of the people that was supposed to kill me actually came into Barbados to kill me. And then he came up to me and he said, well, you know, this is the situation here right now. And I come here to do a job. But at the end, you know what? You continue to tread lightly. And I knew he was serious, but where he was at the time, he couldn't have done it. And I was prepared for it. I was prepared to face it. I just knew death was coming. I could feel it. Every single day I wake up, I could feel it. I felt like death was coming my way. Yeah, so I just continued to do what I was doing. I said, if I get this, I guess going out banging. If anything, I going out banging for sure. And there was a movie being done, and it had name Hush, and somebody asked me if I could come and do a little small minor role in this movie, and I was like, man, all right, cool. So I went and did the role, and this role was me shooting a fella in the head, being a gangster, and shooting a fella in the head. So anyway, I did the role, not thinking nothing about it, not thinking too much about the film, whatever the cases. But anyway, the film eventually came out, and it was shown in schools and all these different kind of things, and they was calling like some of the cast members to come and talk at the Olympics to some of the students and what's not. And asked me to come because they said my particular scene gained a huge response from the students, especially when they shoot the funny head like, yeah, that's Zico and blah blah blah. Little did they know that the character that I was portraying was actually my real life that I was actually living. So when they saw me in the film doing what I was doing, it wasn't really acting for them. It was just like, yeah, this was Zico about. So it was like you could come and talk to the students, and then you went just do a little meet and greets. But what really had hit me at that particular thing was this particular school. And it was a special needs school. And these guys had come up to me and said they want to be just like me. They want, and that's been something really hit me because it was like I losing friends every day. My family being threatened. Like there's actually people threatening to actually hurt my mother, hurt my sister-in-law at the time and hurt the people closest to me. Like there was a lot of stress dealing with what he was dealing with at the time. It's alright for me to go along, but for me to actually know that people want to hurt the people closest to me, and for me to be actually dealing with funerals and people in prison and all this shit going on in my mind at that particular time, it had become very overwhelming. And that's when they said, I ain't about this life no more. On the law, darkness come with that particular lifestyle. And knowing what you had known about the streets and seeing what you used to see and the bloodshed and all these things, it just eventually was too much for me mentally. And seeing who had came to me saying they want to be like me, it was like, y'all know y'all talking. I remember saying that I denounced that whole gang like that same particular day. And the makers of the film came to me This particular gentleman by the name of Dave Weeks, and he had asked and say, you see, if you had changed your life, people can follow you the same way. You know, you're a born leader. And he introduced me to Christ, and I always knew about Christ. You know, I come out in church, but I just come up in church because that's the way I had to do. You had to be part of church. You come up in a particular household, you just go to church. But in terms of really getting to know who Christ was, it was a no for me. It was like, so I was like, all right, cool, let me give this thing a shot. And I gave my life to Christ that particular day in the Olympus. And I didn't know what my next step would have been, but I said, let me just get a shot. And I'm going to this year wholeheartedly. If I can do something, I can give it all for it. I can live by it and I can die by it. And so why not? Let me just give this a shot. And that was when my next chapter basically began. And for my next chapter basically is when I decided, all right, let me give this Christian thing a shot. So I did. And when I was like, boy, you get dead, boy. So from there, tell my gang members and thing, yo, to this. I ain't, they can try this life now. People was like, you can this boy crazy. But although I tell people so, my enemies still wanted me dead. And it was this particular instance where you know for sure God was real. And I was walking through town. And it was I mean like a platoon, a large group of fellas that was coming towards me. Like, yeah, we got him now, boy, we can kill him now. And they was pulling out the weapons and what's not. And I was like, boy. And I was like, you know what? If this is what it's supposed to be, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run. And a voice told me just walk me at the side of the road. So they was coming at one particular side, and they decided, you know what? So I went on the other side of the road. They started to cross me at the side as well. I said, I'm gonna run. If this is how it's supposed to go, this is how we're gonna go. I said, God, if you're real, you gotta prove yourself to me now. Just saying so like to myself, like, I guess this way it is. I can next get all these men right now. These men like hyenas approaching and pray, like they got me now, like cornered. And the funny thing about it, I continued to walk. I was walking towards me, and me smiling. And two tools, a car pull up. And a voice, man, this time he get in. And I was like, what the hell is this? So he got in the back seat, slammed the door, and this man surrounded the car. The driver eventually just scratch off through the crowd and then carry me to this Christian event, which was so funny. He just took me to this particular event and tell me get out. I get out in the car, and I was at this particular Christian event. And the same Christian event was the same people who introduced me to the Lord, who created the movie anyway. They had the movie at the time. And I was like, what is this? I get out the car and the driver went long. Never saw the driver again in my life. I don't know who he was. He didn't even stay at the event. He just dropped me there and went long. And I was like, this is crazy. God, you gotta be real. I remember thinking that to myself, God, you gotta be real. And it was this, I don't know, but it was a joy or kind of like you astounded. It was this speechless, like, what just happened? Seriously? I was about to dead and this happened for you. I was like, this is crazy. And the people came down to me and told me, come upstairs, come, come, come. I came upstairs and same time, there was this guy, a deported fella, who was giving a testimony upon his life. And he was also a street dude at the time in the sticks. He was doing drugs and he was giving his testimony. And while giving his testimony, I was sitting on, I was just listening. And at the end of he giving his testimony, he looked at me. Guy by the name of Wayne Weeks, never forget. And he came to me and told me I can get you with a pat on my back. And I was like, get you? Like, what you know about my life? Like, I mean, he came directly to me and was patting me on my back. In a crowd full of people and tell me I can get you it. And I was like, what really going on here? I mean, like, this can't be a coincidence now. Like, what really going on? But seeing all these different signs starting to align, I tell myself, God be real. And I said, well, I can really give this a shot. And little did you know, I came across my enemies different places, and I was like, I hear you change. And I respect that. And eventually, my enemies just started to fade away. And I was like, these people was hunting me. These people attempted to kill me more than once. I mean, like, multiple times. And just so these people allow this thing to slide. Um, and I was kind of like bewildered by it. Like, you hear stories and you read things, you hear people, but to actually see this in your life, you was like, what really happening here? Like, this is not normal. And the funny thing about it, when it continued, I wasn't the perfect Christian at the time. You know, I would still sometimes chill with some friends, go to a party. But it was far from the lifestyle I was living. And I went to this particular party, and this fella came up to me, and he was like, "You who Zico?" And there was something about people asking if you who Zico did something to me. Like normally my ego would kick into play, and it would normally react in a violent manner. But for this particular time, it was just like, and I hear a voice say, "Zico, be humble." And I was like, yeah. He asked me, "You change?" Or you just saying you change? I hear you change. You change? And I mean, we in a party, music booming, and this fella in my face looking directly at me, nighttime. And I wanted to even react and tell this man, boy, move from my face, boy, actually serious. But the voice repeat and tell me, be humble. And I say, yeah, man, it changed. Early they changed my life. The man said, if you had tell me anything else, I would have blow you away. And the same thing he said it. I looked at my stomach, and the man had a gun pointed right at my stomach at that particular time. I tell me, if you had tell me anything else, other than you really changed, I would have blow you away. For X reason, something you had done to his cousin, something I had done probably in the past or whatever, but he said he was looking for me for a long time. And I said, yeah, man, it's true that I changed. Man said, well, I respect that. Man said, I was late to change, but it's too late for me. And I tell you, it ain't too late for you, and I saw, man, if I could do it, anybody could do it. I really kind of build it's not really a friendship, but he had respect me for making that brave decision to left everything behind and just decided to live a different life. And a week later, he was arrested for murder. Same man who asked me if it was he was arrested for murder. And shortly after, he was also killed in prison. He wanted to change, but he thought it was too late for him to change. And that did something to me also. That showed me, like, give me a better, like, seeing how he went to prison for murder, that could have been my life. He didn't get a chance to change, but I did. And, I continued to grind. I got involved in arts. I got involved in dancing. I eventually started ministering through dance. And I got involved with a group named Praise Academy. And, involved in drama, art, theater, film. Got involved in the whole works. And eventually kind of inspired people who was living like me to eventually change as well. And, the story sounds good leading up to this point. But then eventually thinking that I would have backslid into that life it wasn't a backslid into a different life, and that life was alright. The popularity, the girls know, you into this particular no lifestyle, like everybody know you, so yeah, and that's where it was falling into. So eventually, basically, I fall away from the whole um God changed my life kind of thing into a different life altogether. I mean, I'm not had me back into the streets, but it was a whole total different different life altogether, and I had that feeling again. I don't know if people understand it, but I had that feeling of death over my life again. And the funny thing about it, I always tell myself that I probably must see would have backslid into the same gang culture, but it wasn't. And the enemy is so smart and meticulous. He didn't come the same way he came before. And he tried a different tactic. And his different tactic was, all right, cool, we out there in the public eye. And I'll forget this here. This woman wants to me. Same with this woman wants to me. Woman's like, are you out there giving you testimony? But know that you give me testimony, the enemy gonna come at you way different, um, more vicious than ever before. And me being young, and you young with this thing, you're like, I'm ready for him, man. Till he bring it on, till he come, you know. And as soon as I remember doing my testimony, I was on radio and different things, sharing it. Because man, he came so different because it was exposed now to a lot of different people, and what people call it, yeah, a lot of people know your name and a lot of different things. I was actually hosting school fairs now and promoting different things, and when that had happened, it's really girls not coming to play, and the girls had like this image of the body boy, and still good boy kind of thing, and then before you know it, I had backslid completely without even knowing. I had backslid completely. It was so gradual that I'd been in love, but I didn't even recognize myself. I was like, yo, I fall far, boy. And it came from me going to parties with women, and then girls invite you to this place, doing guest houses with friends, the whole works. And I remember one particular time, this girl was like, Zico, you backslid? And then when she said, I didn't even know how to answer. I was like, No, she's like, we takes a look, like, but I knew for a fact that I did when she had told me that. And back to the thing about now I had some kind of understanding about identity. I kind of knew what my purpose was then, right? I kind of knew what my purpose was all about then. And I knew it was in a form of helping people who came from where I came from. And I always say this, all right? Using your failures to fertilize your future. And that was my strength at the time. I used everything that I knew to help people who was either like me or was going through what I was going through at that particular time. And I started had some kind of grasp on my identity through the doctrine, just through to understand the word of God at that particular time and understanding what it was called to be. I then eventually started to grasp now what my purpose was. And I started to see the enemy's plan a little more clear than before. So I was more now aware at that particular time. And I had this claw of death still around me because I fully didn't have went back. I had got involved in some street racing at the time, and I had gotten a really terrible accident, a serious accident. I should have been dead. Car had flipped with street racing. Car eventually flipped, spin went through the air brake, and car bricked in half, went through a metal pole, and my head has went through the windshield. And I remember the police coming out. I remember how I left. I didn't have my license. The car wasn't straight, no insurance, nothing. I should have been dead. So I was like, shoot, I got to get off the scene, and whatever the case may be. And I was gonna let the rap fall for my stepfather. So I tell you, come to the city again. I know again a car accident. So you remember he came in on and talking to the police.
Being a stepfather was very difficult for me, because it was a first time experience, and I had to grow into that role, into the role of being a stepdad, especially a role model. And it was extremely difficult because, you know, Zico at 5 years old was challenging, you know. He had a very fantastic relationship with his mom from a very early age. And for me now to come and take away a part of that relationship wasn't the elite thing for Zico, And, at times we had our difficulties, our challenges, we were loggerheads, and, you know, I wouldn't say that Zico was a bad child. It was always like, for me, it was about giving, letting go, and showing Zico the love that he deserved, because coming into the family now, he needed that father figure, and for me to be that father figure, it was hard. I didn't want to let go, because and they could always see that he wanted it, He was reaching out, and at times it was a bit laid back, And as we grew as a family, we started to, started to do things together.
And the police said something. Police said, you know, God know though. And I don't know why he said that. I was like, Ezekiel, you can't be doing this tomorrow, man. And it's like, I admit it was me who was driving, and man, I said, look at you. It was obvious. I have blood all over me anyway. He was like, look at you, but still, I just confess and say every single thing. He said, yeah, blah, blah. And it wasn't a charge. I didn't get charged. Everything was dropped. The man said, to be honest with you, I've been a police officer for over 16 years. And I wasn't even coming to take a statement. I tell myself the person in dead. Looking at this accident, this person should be dead. There's no way this person should be to survive. Rather yet here talking to me right now. Um, and that's when it really hit me for you. And it was like, nah, boy, you really gotta do something with your life. You really, really gotta do something with your life. You can't continue falling back into this particular path. And the same girl who had asked me if I had backslid invited me to this church, and I had went to this church, and I got back seriously with the Lord. And after getting back serious with God, I started to study all over again. I was like a baby in Christ all over, really like getting to know God all over again. And I worked my way through. And before you know it, became a minister. And then from a minister, I then gradually grew and became a pastor. And then from a pastor, and I was just out ministering, traveling, Caribbean, and preaching the word of God and what's not. And I give it all credit. It's not because I was lucky. It wasn't because I it was just all I could say was it was God.
He would start talking to the young people I remember I had a friend and she wanted her son to speak to him because the change that he had made. And I would go to all of his dance competitions, and I used to be so proud. I would be, I was all the group. You would hear my voice in that crowd. I was so proud of him. So then he started going to church, and I was really happy. I was really, really happy when I saw the change in him, and I really, I don't know what else to say. I was just happy that he took that step. And I want to say already thanks to the weeks, because I think it was them that really helped him turn around.
I am extremely proud. Zico, again, have come from a long journey, you know, and it's really amazing to see that a young man like that could be willing to change his life for the good and not be a follower. Zico have become an excellent leader, and it's really great to see him come from that dark side that he was in before, you know, and it's really great that he can strive and continue to strive forward.
Nothing else. It was God. And I definitely always give thanks to God because of that. And it even caused me then to eventually even stepped out to the church and started to give back more to my community and stuff like that. Even again involved in charity and whatnot, which I'm currently active in right now. With the Quincy Jones and Camille Messiah, and we just out there with trading charity currently right now. Just helping a lot of young people in different areas as well, whether it's education, culture, sports, youth, job creation, even in terms of law as well. So all I can say is just through the grace of God. That's the honest truth. Through the grace of God, I thank Him every single day. To be this a product of His word, and if I could do it, anybody could do it. Anybody could do it. And there was so much different hurdles I had to pass, whether it was women, whether it was quote-unquote fame or clout or whatever the case is. But you know, I just gotta continue to remain grounded and focused, and always remember where you come from. Don't be ashamed of it, but look at it and say, well, you know, everything happens for a reason, and because of that, I become much stronger, I become much wiser, and I will continue to use my failures and my missteps in life to help somebody else overcome theirs.
You look, you have dark, and good and have evil.
Because there's a different generation, there's a different kind of steel teeth generation.
I saw a lot of things I would say trauma.
In the heat of the moment, the adrenaline, I had so much things, I had so much to lose at that time.
Time to change, man. Time to turn around. Time to turn around.